Hello, everyone, and welcome to True Gossip, where gossip meets truth. I'm your host, Tanya Cole Lennon, and tonight we are 10 days away from nominating the 47th President of the United States of America. November 5th, get out there and vote. If you can't vote early, you didn't mail in your ballots, you need to vote. There's a lot at stake. Number one is our democracy. Number two, our freedom. So I'm going to talk about freedom of a woman's right to choose. A woman's right to take care of her own body. A woman's right to bear children. A woman's right to have the medical care that they deserve, right? So let's talk about that word. The word is abortion. What is an abortion? I'm going to read it. An abortion is the termination of a pregnancy before a fetus can survive outside of the uterus. It can happen naturally, also known as a miscarriage, or it can be induced intentionally through a medical or surgical procedure. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, number one, people having abortions because they decide that they don't want to have children. And they laid down with somebody, they got pregnant, and they decided, you know what, I don't want this. This is not something that I want. So they go and they have an abortion. They get rid of the kid, right? The baby, the fetus, whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their own interpretation, but I'm telling you what it is. An abortion is the termination of a pregnancy before the fetus can survive outside of the uterus. The reason why I'm so passionate about this because I had a miscarriage and I had a stillbirth. Let's see why this word abortion. Let me go back. I want to change the word abortion because when people hear that word abortion, they automatically think, oh, somebody's killing a baby. But that's not what it is, and people have to understand there's a lot that goes into that word abortion. So let's break it down. Let me explain to you, and I'm going to give you some of my own personal things that happened to me and what the doctors had to do to save me or save a baby for other people. But I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about my own experience. I'm talking about what happened to me and why it's important for women to have the freedom to choose. The freedom to choose what they do with their own body. The government should not be in the person's bedroom. They shouldn't be in the doctor's office. They should not be in a woman's business to take care of her own body and to do what she wants to do to her own body, right? So again, I want to read that word. I want to describe or give you the definition of the word abortion. And I'm reading it, and it says, an abortion is the termination of a pregnancy before a fetus can survive outside the uterus. Understand, be able to survive outside the uterus. It can happen naturally, also known as a miscarriage, or it can be induced intentionally through medical or surgical procedures. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, and I want you to understand why I'm telling you this and why it's important that you go out and vote, because your freedom is at stake. And this is not only for women, it's for men. You have a spouse, a girlfriend, your significant other, and y'all need to actually be making these choices together. And the reason why I say that is because that word abortion sounds so horrible. It sounds like the person just wants to kill a baby, and that's not true. You know, number 45, y'all know who he is. Donald J. Trump. He's talking about that people are having abortions and at 9 months. That is not true. No doctors are performing surgeries, inducing labor at 9 months and killing babies. That is not true. So let's just put that out there. Let's just debunk that because it's not true. Now, we know that Roe v. Wade, Donald Trump had his Supreme Court, and they just made it illegal for women to have an abortion. And I keep saying that word abortion because people got it in their mind. It's such a bad word. And it's not a bad word. You have to understand what happens and why people may have to have procedures done. And now these doctors are scared to give these women or any woman life-saving procedures. I am a 56-year-old woman. I have 2 children, and I'm gonna explain to you, okay? A lot of people don't know this because I don't tell everybody my business, but this is very important, and I have to tell you guys this, and I have to share this with you. So I have 2 kids, but I have 4 pregnancies, right? And I had a pregnancy when I was young, and I was 6 months pregnant. I went to my father's funeral. I was young. I was 16, and I went to the doctor after my father's funeral, and they said everything was fine. I got home. I felt cramps. I was sick, and I felt my back was hurting, and I had tightness in my stomach. So I was told by the baby's dad's mom, Tanya, go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and when I got there, the baby was dead inside of me. The baby was dead inside of me because it got wrapped up in the umbilical cord. So if Roe v. Wade was not in place, I would have to figure out what to do, because if it was illegal for them to induce my labor, I could have died because the baby was already dead inside of me. So listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to me carefully, because this is important. People keep thinking that abortion is about killing babies. That is not it. Now, remind you, I was 6 months pregnant, and I had a dead baby inside of me that was leaking poison into my system. And if the doctors could not induce my labor and perform that surgery and give me a D&C, I would have died. Hear what I'm saying to you. It's so important that you understand that it's not about killing innocent fetuses. It's not about killing babies. It's about saving somebody's life. And I'm passionate about this because people are like, oh, abortions, you're killing a baby, oh, you're an evil person. That is not true. I was 6 months pregnant at 16 years old with a dead baby inside of me. And if the doctors didn't induce my labor and I delivered that dead baby and they gave me a D&C, I would have died right along with that baby. So understand why it's important for you to go out there and vote. Women are dying because doctors are scared to perform emergency medical treatment. Women are scared to go to the doctor and get the treatment because each party is afraid that they're going to go to jail. And this is all because of Donald J. Trump, number 45, who placed 3 Supreme Court judges who overturned Roe versus Wade, or Roe v. Wade. I apologize for saying that. So that was number 1 that happened to me. I had a stillbirth and I had to have my labor be induced. I had to give birth to a dead baby, and they had to remove the placenta, and they had to give me that D&C. If they didn't, I would have died. Another story, I have a friend. I'm not going to say her name, but they was telling me their story. And I knew this story from years ago. Him and his wife, they had gotten pregnant, and they were so happy. And then they went to the doctor. The doctor did the test, did the sonograms and all the blood work because she was of age. And the doctor told them that the baby would be born without an anus. They wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom because they didn't have the parts to be able to expel the waste out of their body. And that they would have heart problems. Their heart would be born outside of their chest. So they had to make a decision. And the decision was they were going to go full term or they was going to terminate the pregnancy. But that's up to the individual. That's up to what they want to do. But the husband felt that it would be cruel and inhumane to bring a child into this world that was going to die several hours after it was born. But the mother, of course, being a mom, she's feeling that baby growing inside of her, and she want to have that baby, and it's theirs together, and she did not want to abort the baby. So they decided together as a couple, even though the husband was against it, they went full term. The sad part is that the baby was born, just like the doctor said, and they held the baby for a few hours. The baby was suffering, and then the baby died. The mother and the father was traumatized after that. People don't get better, or not saying that they don't get better, they don't get over that type of stuff. So this is the reason why we got to fight for the freedom so that we can have the right to choose what we want to do with our bodies. I'm going to give you one more story, and the story is about me again. This was after I had both of my children, and they were already in, school, and they probably was in middle school, and I got pregnant. Yep. By my husband, and I was 5 months pregnant, and I had a miscarriage in my house in the bath, in my panties. Can you imagine seeing that 5 months pregnant? So my girlfriend had to take me to the hospital, and I went to the hospital with that embryo and the panties in my hand, and I gave it to them. But can you imagine today I went to the hospital with that embryo having a miscarriage, and they tell me that they could not give me a D&C because they are afraid that the doctors are afraid that they're going to go to jail? I had to get a D&C because they had to get the placenta out and they had to scrape me and they had to make sure that all of whatever was inside of me had to be cleaned out because it's poisonous. This is the stuff that's happening right now. People are having miscarriages. The doctor's afraid that they're going to go to jail. They're not. You have to wait until the woman is almost on her deathbed before the doctors are able to perform this necessary surgery to make sure that that woman don't die. This is what's on the ballot. This is what's at stake, people. So you got to get out and vote on November 5th. If you can vote early, vote early. If you mailed in your ballot or you got it ready to mail it in. Because our freedom is on the line. Our choices to make for ourselves and our bodies are on the line. What about women in relationship, women and men that's in relationships, husband and wives, and they want to be able to have children? They can't even perform the surgery so they can have children. You have people out here wanting kids, and now doctors are scared to perform the surgery for these people, IVF, to have that surgery to be able so they can have a family of their own. So people, this is what's on the ballot. Get out there and vote. Abortion is on the ballot for people, for women to have freedom to choose what they do to their bodies, and for doctors not to be afraid to give women the medical treatment that they need and to help people have families. So, this is a public service announcement to you guys. Get out there and vote on November 5th. This is Tanya Colenin with True Gossip, where gossip meets truth. And truth is on the ballot. Vote November 5th, 2024.